stuff of forms. So, form tag. This will wrap our form, and we're not going to use action. So, just form, and then form. Inside the form tag, we have inputs, and we can also give it a button. So usually buttons are type button, but if they're inside of a form, they default to type equals submit. Okay, and let's see what happens when we submit this form. That's not our form. There we go. Okay, let me zoom in on this so we can see it better. It's a terrible way to zoom. There we go. Okay, so I can say hello and hit enter, and that will submit it. That'll cause the submit event to take place. So watch what happens. It's going to refresh. I don't know if you saw that, but you can see this right here refresh, and then all my text went away and my code got unfocused. So this behavior was built in back in the day. Whenever you submitted a form, it would like reroute you to a different part of the site or whatever. That was like all part of the intended use of a form submission. Modern day development, we don't do that as much, and so we prevent the default. So let's set up an event listener for this form, and I'm going to do something else a little non-traditional. So usually when we want to select elements, we give them an ID and we select them with the ID. But forms are special. When forms get compiled into the DOM, they automatically get stuck to the document. So we're given cool dot notation to get at forms. So let's name this form called, let's call it personal. I don't know, personal information or something. But personal. And so now to select the form, instead of document.getElementById and then the ID name, we can just say document.personal. That right there is the form. So we can do document.personal. And then how am I going to add the event listener submit? All right, Mark, how would I add the submit event listener to, if this right here, if I'm telling the truth about this being how we select the form? Perfect. Cool. Okay, yeah, so E will appear in between these two parentheses, but add event listener takes two arguments. Do you remember what the first one is? Yeah, Brian.
Submit.
Okay, cool.
So whatever the action is.
Yep.
Submit,
and then the function. Yeah, so submit, this is a string, one of, 30 events or something can be accepted here, and then a function. I'm going to slowly ease everybody into arrow functions. It's part of ES6. So old functions are like this, right? We can just put the function right in there. But ES6 has given us the arrow function, where in an anonymous function like this is, where we're not naming it, you can take out the function keyword, and then on the right side of the parentheses, we have an arrow. So this is the same thing as this. You don't have to do it that way yet, but in the future you will, for sure. So I just want to get people used to looking at the syntax. So here's an arrow function written out. I kind of think of this like as like take these params and return or do whatever. I don't know. The arrow like helps me think of it as like a verb or a taking this stuff and doing stuff with it. I don't know. I like the arrow though. You'll get used to it. But yeah, as Mark said, so this function, this is where we pass E into so that we can have access to the event. Mark, do you know why the event is important to us right now? Yeah, and helping us so that our form doesn't just automatically refresh. Yeah, nice. E.prevent default. And so now when we go in here, type stuff in, hit submit or hit enter, it doesn't refresh because we've prevented that default from happening. But let's do a console login here. So if I push enter, it's submitted. If I click the submit button, it's submitted. So this is good user experience. Users would rather have this than just a button that you click. Cool. Now, if we want to get data from this input, we can also give it a name. Name equals, let's call this one fname. And any input that is inside of a form just gets tacked on to the form like the form was tacked onto the document. And that's only once we name it. So instead of giving these guys IDs to get at them, we can just name them, and then we can say document.personal.fname. So in here we say document.personal. What's personal? The whole form. And then fname will give us our input. And then how do we get whatever is inside of the input? Yeah, dot value. So let's console log that. So here we put Marvin, submit, and we can get the value of that input box. Any questions so far?
How do you do a placeholder text again?
Cool. Yeah, so the input box has a lot of nice attributes for us. One of them is the placeholder, and this is for the user's benefit, so that they can be given clues as to what needs to go there. So you can do first name. You can give them examples. This is nice. Things like if you expect them to put in a specific format for the telephone number or something, you can use a placeholder to show them what's going on in there. Okay, so an important attribute for inputs are the types, and Chrome gives us a lot of nice tooling with types. So what's the default again? What does it default to? Text. Type equals text. So that's just boring old whatever we want to put in there. Does anybody know any other types? Number.
What did you say the name again?
Name makes it accessible through JavaScript. So right here we can say document.personal. So once we give a form a name, it gets put right on document. So the second we give this form the name personal, we can say document.personal to get at the form.
But in the input now.
Yep, and so any input that's in a named form or in any form gets just tacked onto that form. So if we've selected the form with document.personal, because it has an input with the name fname, we can then say .fname to get at that input box. and then dot value to get to the value inside of there. Should we look at that real quick?
Yeah.
Okay, so we didn't give this form or this input box an ID. But by merit of what they are, by being a form or being an input box, they automatically get to be part of the document. So if I look at the whole document, I might have to console.dir it. Console.dir the whole document. I've named that form personal, so it gets its own property on the document. Personal, there it is. If we open that up, it's our form. We can dig into it. And here's our buttons, but we've also named our button fname, so it gets its own property on the form. So right, oh! I don't see it. Yeah, but
Some Scramble videos going on for this?
yeah, there are, but not in module 0. I'll have to see where they are. But there's definitely, Nate has a couple of YouTube videos from it.
I didn't see it.
But yeah. I mean, yeah, we should make sure we all understand it here now.
They're kind of like objects, right? In
Yeah.
a sense, they're like objects because they can just go nest. So that's like how I figured it out. It's just their objects. The names are their IDs in a sense if you want to give them that association.
Right. So let's name this something else. Let's name it
Carl.
car. Cool. So now car, that's going to be what's on document. Document.car. So console.dir the document again, we're going to get the .car, and this is our form. And if we say .car.fname, well, let's do document .car here. So this is our form. It should have an fname. Maybe it doesn't in here.
Wouldn't it be in the fname? Wouldn't it be inside the 0 and 1 thing up there?
It would be totally, but I mean, I can get at it right here. Oh, add event listener undefined, huh? So John Wayne, right here, I'm console logging document.car.fname. So I've selected the form and then that input box that I've given a name to, fname. So once I give anything inside of a form a name, it sticks itself to the form. And right now the form is document.car. So I've giving this input a name. Now I have a .fname, and that's the input box, and input boxes have a .value. So, and you can always select this stuff the old way, right? So if we were to give this an ID, then we could say document.getElementById, and then pass in whatever ID we gave it. But instead of using ID and using name, we kind of get a cleaner dot syntax than having to call getElementById.
Now well, that probably mess things up if you name things like the same thing over and over again, right?
Yeah, so make sure that any inputs in the same for have different names than each other, and that the different forms have different names than each other. But if I had a second form, I could have another fname in there, because one would be document.car, .f name, and the other one would be document.truck.f name. Okay, so Diana tells us that there's also a type number. And what this does is it restricts you, I'm like slamming on letters, restricts you from putting, I guess you can put E in there, because the exponent, you know.
Well, isn't it, he's a number, it's a variable calculus.
Well, isn't it like, you,
It's like the relation, right? It's like the natural log or like keyboard something stupid. It's not stupid. It's stupid log.
Well, yeah, stupid long.
yeah, when your numbers are too big, right? You got to use E.
Yeah.
Cool. And it also gives you this cool little thing to click up and down, increase, decrease your numbers. Something interesting about this, pi.
The symbol.
What is it? What do we push? Option P. You can put that. Yeah. So yeah, this works, but I want to show you something. So it's printing out 23. But if I said type of here, who votes? Who thinks that this is going to be a number when I click submit?
Like the word number?
Yeah, like the word number.
I think it's gonna be, yeah.
String, yeah, it's a string. So anything from inputs, the values, they're always strings. And this is going to become important with your calculator exercise, because if you add two strings together, if you added the string 5 and the string 5 together, you'd get 55. So you got to turn them into numbers. So let's do +2. We'd expect when we put 5 in here to be 7, but it's given us 52. So there's a couple ways to get around that. You can wrap your string in the number constructor, and that'll turn it to a number. So now this will be 5 + 2 with math, 7. Oh, and it's different color. In the console, it's blue. Numbers are blue, I guess. And then there's also a parseInt, and there's like a subtle difference that I forget. But whatever looks better to you for now.
What's parse?
Parse integer is what it stands for. And then there's another tricky way.
parseInt gives you your whole number, right?
Oh, I bet. I bet that's true.
Well, you don't want to use that. If you're using,
Yeah, if you're using decimals, you might want to use capital N number. I don't know. But then there's also the, you can throw a plus sign in front of it. And that like, JavaScript sees the plus and says, oh, I need to make this a number or something. I don't know why the plus works specifically right now. So, but there's a few ways to do it. I kind of prefer like number or parseInt just because the plus sign hides from my eyes a little bit, but it really doesn't matter, I don't think.
What was the number? Just type the number. Instead of parseInt.
Yeah, capital N number instead of parseInt.
None work? Was that?
I don't think so. Okay, so numbers also, they have a few things like a max. So we can set a max of, let's say, 100. They have a min. We'll set a min of 20. They have a step. And let's set the step to 5. So now we can't put in anything bigger than, oh man. Maybe we can't submit anything bigger than, okay, that's it. It's trying to tell us something, right? Why is that input box so small? So we see step working. So when we click the arrows, it steps 5 because we said step equals 5. Let's see if we can take this higher than 100. Okay, we can't with the step. Can we take it lower than 20?
I can't see it. Is it incrementing by 5? Yes.
Can't take it below 20. I guess we could write in more than 20. I bet this help tool, you see how there's like a tool trying to tell us something? I bet it's telling us that we need, yeah, let me get the form. So we'd submit it, and then it won't let us submit it. We see the console log that is in our submit event isn't triggering. So the submit event isn't happening, and instead we get this message from Chrome that says value must be less than or equal to 100.
That's only Chrome?
No, it's every browser will have it built in. The message might have different styling or something, you know.
But if you put something off on the step, like 7 or 27.
What's that? Oh, something off of this step. Oh, okay. Right on. So step restricts it from. That's good to know.
Can you put in your own messages? Or is that
That's a good question. I don't know. It's a good question. Yeah, I mean, there's ways. Like Toaster. Toaster is like a third-party JavaScript library that gives helpful messages versus like an alert. Okay, so I'm gonna make a couple of these inputs. And I'm gonna make this, here, let's just do 2. The number one still has all of its requirements, and then this text one, the only thing that I'm going to put on it is required. When you give it the required attribute, it defaults to true, but you just have to say required and it knows. And so our numbers, we have to have the right numbers, but then if we don't put anything into this input box here, when you have it as required, it makes you fill out the form. Okay, I'm just making sure I didn't miss anything. Okay, that's part 1. So let's practice using the simple HTML calculator. With this one, you're going to have 3 sections, and each section gets its own submit button. So you'll have 3 forms, an add, subtract, and multiply form. And then inside of there, 2 inputs each for 2 numbers that are either going to be added together, subtracted, or multiplied, and their own output. So you're not going to have it do an alert. You'll have like 2 inputs and then a submit button and then the output. And I would encourage you to style it a little bit. This is like one of those things that you can throw up on a portfolio today to get like something out there if you wanted to. So that one I want you to work on until 4. Do we want to do forms part 2 today or tomorrow?
I think tomorrow would be good.
Okay. Cool. Okay, right on.
When you inject the result, that just pops up on the screen. It's not working, right?
Correct. Yeah. Yep. It just pops up next to your button or whatever, just like in an output div or something. So I'll assign Mario pest control, and this won't be due until let's say Monday morning.
We have school Monday.
Oh no, Tuesday morning.
We have school Friday.
What's Friday?
4-day weekend.
4-day weekend. No school Friday, huh? Well, if everybody in this class sends me a message that they don't want to do school on Friday, I don't know. Just skip it. Just kidding. Yeah, no, Monday is Labor Day, right? Yeah. You're welcome to come in Monday, and if there's enough interest, I bet we could even like have somebody here. I'll have to see how I feel Monday morning. Just kidding. So Mario Pest Control, this is a pretty fun one. The premise is you're Mario and you're charging, like you have clients that you do pest control for. And the pests are Mario villains, and so this is what you charge for each villain. So you'll have a section for Goombas, a section for Bomb Moms and Cheep Cheeps, and it will have their picture and their name and also the price that you charge for each one. And then under that is an input box for each one. So the user can put in input boxes. And then there is a button that is total the price. So it's going to go through and times like 5 times whatever they put in the input box and just display what the user, what the client owes Mario. It's optional, but you can have a what was it? Subtotal? Yeah, subtotal in each section. So you can have a button to show what the total price from just the Goombas are. So, if they've killed 3 Goombas, it would be, you could click that button and it could say 15. That part's optional though. But here are the requirements. So just as you're doing it, make sure that you go down and mark, make sure you have all the requirements. There's some CSS stuff in here too, email address, website URL, and this is another one that people will put on a first iteration of a portfolio as well. Yeah, any questions on any of that?
Do you have any examples
of Mario Pest Control?
Yeah, just so we can see a visual representation.
I wonder, does anybody have theirs on Surge? Can you surge it up real quick? Just kidding.
Surge.
Yeah, Surge is like a super easy way to deploy static front-end apps. Even like React stuff, you can just, all you do, seriously, all you do. It's like Heroku, but like way easier. It's like Surge, but a little bit harder. I'll show you real quick. So I'm gonna do npm install Surge. But I want this, I'll give it the -G flag. What that means is global. So yeah, once, and it's going to be accessible anywhere on my computer. So most NPM installs we do are going to be for packages that we want to use in our projects, and we won't use -G because we want it just specific for that project. But Surge is a tool that we can use wherever.
How would you delete it if it's global? Down the line, you want to do this.
npm uninstall, I'm pretty sure works.
You have to remember it is installed and then
Yeah.
really like your
There is a place where these all live. I don't know where it is though. It's like somewhere in your file systems. But now we have Surge, and so, what was this guy looking at? It was looking pretty tame. So this is the project right here, and it's in positioning because I just kept positioning from this morning. But now all we do is surge space dot saying, hey, surge up this file. It's going to look for the index.html and everything. Oh, I have to log in.
Well, that's a good
I know.
1, 2,
Okay.
3, 4.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So, and then it gives you a domain name. You can change that, but I like Roomy Island for this app name. Yeah, you can change. It gives you a random name, but you can change it right there. And then it's like published. And then so anybody now can go to roomy-island.surge.sh. And then also, do you mind posting your Mario Pest control? MarioPest.surge. So now I can go to, what was mine again? Roomy Island. I should have copied and pasted it. Surge.com?
Surge.sh.
Ah, so this is live. Anybody can see this, and then and put that on my portfolio now. And then it's just Mario Pest with a dash. No dash.
Wow. Oh, that's cool.
So that's Surge. If you want to like show your spouses and all the stuff you're making, you just surge it on up.
So it's not just static pages.
It's
That's the from GitHub. They're just static pages for the most part.
it's only front end. Yeah, you can like make AJAX calls and stuff. It's all.
So you got that, how again? What did you type in?
MarioPest.surge.sh.
That's yours, Emily, right?
Yeah, that's mine.
Pretty cool.
So this will install Surge, and then you CD into whatever you want to surge up, and then just say Surge space dot.
How did hers link up to your computer?
It's online. It's just hosted online, and so
I
is
deployed